Hello, Trekorda musicians. Today I'm going to be talking you through picking up solo and ensemble events as a musician. So if you want to be able to know which of the rehearsal options are going to work best for your schedule, you're going to need to know how to read the event. So here I am logged into my musician homepage on Trekorda, and this is what you see. You'll see that the solo and ensemble events will show up in your invited events on your homepage. So we'll go ahead and click this event and open it up. This is going to be similar to what we see for a normal event. When we look at this event, we can see that this particular solo and ensemble event is going to have 3 pianists for the same school. These 3 positions will have different music, different scheduling, different rehearsal times, different students. If we scroll down a little bit, we can see here in the event description how many total students there are, as well as how many students each particular pianist will have. You'll see also in the musician notes here the pay as normal, and then a reminder to review the schedule and repertoire options for each of the spots so that you know which position is going to work best for you. And then there's a note about what to do once you've accepted, which we will talk about here in a moment. And we also have Julia's contact information, as she is our solo and ensemble specialist, and she can help you if you have any questions through this process. So now I'm going to walk us through the different things that you're going to see for each particular piano position, including schedule and repertoire. The piano 1 position that I created on the sample is going to be the most complicated way that we will present it. So we're starting with the hard and then we'll move to the easier as we go along. In general, solo and ensemble rehearsals will happen the 2 weeks before the contest. And so we'll see week 1 rehearsal options and week 2 rehearsal options. So I'm going to scroll down here. Again, I'm on the piano 1 position. That's what's selected. So as I scroll down here, I can see here that the schedule is for the piano 1 position. So these are all of the potential calls for the piano 1 position. To start with, I'm actually going to go to the bottom and show you that the performance date is here, and the performance date will be there for all the pianists, because obviously all of the pianists will be called on the performance date. It is scheduled for the full day with specific performance times TBD. The schools usually get the performance schedule a couple of weeks ahead of the date, so you should be able to get your particular performance times from the directors when you go to your rehearsals. We will not necessarily have that information. That will be information that you should get from the directors. So looking at this full rehearsal schedule, we have it split up in week 1 and week 2. And week 1 presented here is, like I said, the most complicated way that we might give the options for the rehearsals. So let's take a look at this. We have week 1 option A, Monday 8 to 9. This is only one of the 2 option A calls. So the other option A call is here, Tuesday 8 to 10. This is the second option A call. If you choose the option A, you want to come morning, Monday and Tuesday, then you would need to come to both of these calls. Now your alternate for week 1 is option B. And again, we do have 2 calls for this. So week 1 option B, Monday afternoon. And the second option B call is this Tuesday afternoon. So you will have to choose if you want to do the piano 1 position. Do I want to come the 2 morning options, or do I want to come the 2 afternoon options? And this isn't necessarily always going to be a morning or afternoon thing, but in this particular example that I created, it is mornings and afternoons. So that's your week 1. We also have, this is another week 1 date, but there is no option here. This is going to be a required rehearsal day that you would come if you choose the piano 1 position. So there's no options here for us. Now on week 2, we have a couple of options again. So we would choose option A or option B. And there's only 1 call for week 2 in this particular example. And then we have our performance. Scrolling down a little bit, I'm going to point out the repertoire we have for the piano 1 position. I'm going to talk about repertoire a little bit later. We're concentrating on scheduling right now, but you will see that the repertoire will also change based on which piano position you are taking a look at. Okay, we are now going to review the piano 2 position and the way that the rehearsal options are presented for piano 2. So if I click on this piano 2 button, now we are on the piano 2 position. We can scroll down and we see both the schedule and repertoire are showing for piano 2. So looking at the rehearsal options here, we have, it looks like 3 calls all on the same day, which usually means you're going for 3 different class periods. We have an 8 to 9, a 12 to 1, and a 2 to 3, all listed for the same day. But over here, we see that we do have date options, so we can come for these 3 times on either the 28th or the 30th. You can also mix and match if you really want to come, say, to this time on the 28th and these 2 times on the 30th. That is also something that you can choose. Similar to the piano 1 position, we do have a required day for this piano 2 position. So this one, we do not have any date options listed. And then for your week 2 rehearsals, we have date options once again. So we have this 8 to 10, and you can choose either the 4th or the 5th. And then once again, we do have the repertoire specific for the piano 2 position listed here. Okay, now that we've reviewed piano 2, let's move on to piano 3. So once again, I'm going to click the piano 3 button, and when we scroll down, we will see that that has once again changed the schedule and repertoire to show piano 3's options. We do have date options, again, for these calls, similar to piano 2. However, these are a little bit different in that we have the date options that are preferred listed first. And then in parentheses, we have some secondary options. So both of these, we have the preferred options listed first, and then in parentheses, you can see that we do have other options. Again, a required date and the performance date, same as everyone else. And then we have the piano 3 repertoire listed here as well. Now that we have reviewed all 3 of the pianist positions of the schedule options, I want us to talk a little bit more about the repertoire. Because if I'm looking at piano 1, in this particular case, we have 7 songs listed here for the repertoire for piano 1. However, the event description tells us that the pianist 1 is playing for 23 students. So the numbers don't quite match, and this could be for a multitude of reasons. So the way to find out what the deal is with the mismatch of repertoire items versus number of students is to take a look in our web link section at the SIS, that's the Student Information Spreadsheet. So if I click on this, we're going to open up this spreadsheet where we have all of the student information listed. Now we can take a look for accompanist 1. We have 23 students here for accompanist 1, and we can see right off the bat that there are multiple students playing the same song and that song is uploaded. We can also see, however, that there are some uploads that have not been verified. That means that some uploads have not been put on the event yet. We have not verified that the music is there, and so those are going to be some pieces that are missing currently. And the Trekorda team does reach out to the directors to constantly check on those uploads. So this is the way that you can see specifically which students are playing which items, how many students are playing which repertoire items, and which repertoire items are still missing from the event. Okay, now that we have reviewed all 3 piano positions, the schedule and the repertoire, and we know how to take a look at the event as a whole, we are going to now accept or decline this event. Now, if you choose to decline the event, clicking this decline button will decline all 3 of the positions. So only click decline if you cannot do any of these calls, any of these positions. If you can't do them, we do want for you to click the decline button so that we don't reach out to you to follow up and see if you're available later on. Available with conflicts is a soft decline because you might not be available for all of the required calls. So choose available with conflicts if you're available partially, and then you will be able to write what that partial availability is. Let's pretend that we have reviewed everything and we want to accept the piano 1 position. So I'm going to click accept event piano 1. I'm going to confirm, and now I have this gig. We now see that I am assigned in the piano 1 position. I just got that confirmation email, and I have been assigned to this event. So now I scroll down and I see that the schedule section, it no longer tells me, oh, this is the piano 1 option. This is my schedule, and this is my repertoire, okay? Now, the final thing that we have to do is we have to say which options I prefer for my rehearsals if there are rehearsal options presented. So I have to tell the Trekorda team and the client which days I'm going to be coming. So let's say that week 1, I want to come in the afternoons, so I'm going to choose option B. And week 2, I want to come on the option A date. So I'm going to scroll down to the event chat box, and I click submit, and that goes into this chat box. So the next thing that happens is the Trekorda team will be monitoring the chat box, and once we see these sorts of chat messages come in, we will be updating your schedule as you preferred on your options. So I'm going to pretend like I'm giving the Trekorda team a little bit of time. So now that I've given the Trekorda team a little bit of time, I can look at this event now and see that my dates have been updated, and only my chosen dates are now showing. And this schedule is now exactly how my schedule will be for the rehearsal options. And this is going to be the reminders that I get on Sundays before will be only for my calls for these rehearsals. Okay, let's pretend like after I have reviewed all 3 piano positions, I would like to accept piano 2. So I make sure that the piano 2 position is selected, and now my accept button says piano 2. So I'm going to click on that to accept. I'm going to confirm, and then I will get the confirmation email that I have been assigned to this event. There it goes. Again, if I scroll down, I see that this schedule is now the piano 2 schedule, but it doesn't even say that anymore because it is now my schedule. Same with the repertoire. So once again, though, we do have date options. So I need to now tell the Trekorda team and the client which date I will be coming for these rehearsals. So I'm going to say I'm going to choose the 28th for week 1, which is what's already there. But on week 2, I actually want to come on the 5th. So I'm going to come down to the chat box, and then I submit that to the chat box. And I'm going to wait for just a little while to make sure that the Trekorda team sees that chat message and updates my schedule. So now that I have given the Trekorda team a little bit of time, I can log back in, scroll down, and see that they have confirmed that the 28th is my chosen date, and they have switched this to February 5th as my chosen date for the second week's rehearsal. All right, so now we are going to pretend like I want to accept the piano 3 position. However, before we do that, I wanted to show you what it looks like when one of the positions has already been taken by another pianist. So in this case, we can see that Bradley has accepted the piano 2 position, which means that we don't have the piano 2 button here anymore for us to toggle between to take a look at the schedule and rehearsal options. We now only have the option of looking at the piano 1 or the piano 3 event to fill. All right, so we're going to pretend like we want the piano 3 position now. I'm going to accept piano 3. and confirm. I'm going to get that confirmation email here in just a moment. So now I'm going to scroll down. Once again, I do need to tell the Trekorda team and the client which date options I'm going to prefer. Now this is the one that has the preferred date options or the secondary date options, but I'm going to say that I can do their preferred dates, not the secondary options. So I'm going to confirm that I would like the 30th and the 6th for my rehearsals. Submit. That is in the chat box. So I'm going to give the Trekorda team a little bit of time to update that rehearsal schedule for me. So now that I have given the Trekorda team a little bit of time to update the schedule, I can scroll down and see that my chosen dates are now confirmed there on the schedule, and this is what I will be getting for my confirmation and reminder emails the week of each of these rehearsals. Okay, just for a final review, when I'm looking at a solo and ensemble event with multiple pianist positions, I'm going to make sure to click through all of the options, which in this particular example, I have 3, but it could be up to 6 or 7 if they have a lot of students involved. And this is going to help me take a look at the repertoire and scheduling sections to determine which repertoire and schedule will fit best for my schedule and my ability. I'm also going to take a look at how many students are playing for those particular positions. I can refer to the student information spreadsheet to take a look at if some students are playing the same songs and which repertoire items might still be missing from the event page. And then when I'm ready and I've decided, I can decline all of the positions if I click the decline button, or I can choose to accept any of the positions. If I'm clicked on that position, I can accept that position. Once I have accepted, I will need to scroll down to the chat box to let the Trekorda team and the client know what my preferences are for any rehearsal options that are listed. So we need to make sure to get that in the chat box if there are rehearsal options. If you have any questions at all about solo and ensemble, please contact Julia. Like I said earlier, her email address will be on all of the events under the musician notes. Julia is our solo and ensemble specialist. She'll be able to help you with any questions that you might have. If you have general questions for anything Trekorda related, remember you can also email team@trekorda.com and we will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and we will see you this solo and ensemble season. Have a wonderful day.